leading edtech that focuses on providing specialized training in technology skills, delivering comprehensive data consultation services across the globe. Now, with over 4 years of building talent in the technology workforce, we have helped over 2,855 individuals transition from their classrooms into their first jobs in tech. And I'm sure a lot of us here on this call are also hoping that we can move from, our programs in tech analytics into landing our very first job in tech, landing that dream job that pays all the bills and also gives us time off from work on a yearly basis, right? Now, this transition has not just happened within our classrooms or a specific region, it has happened across the world. This includes UK, US, Canada, Europe, Africa, and Asia. Now, we are committed to making the technology sector more accessible through premium experiential trainings in data analytics, business analysis, data engineering, data science, financial analytics, HR analytics, agile project management, Scrum Master, cybersecurity, and AI engineering. Now, our team of instructors are from leading global companies like Apple, Microsoft, McKinsey, Amazon, and so on and so forth. Now, with this vast amount of experience, you are going to be meeting quality work values within your classrooms. And I'm also going to be showing us a little bit of what we can achieve in a short period of time while we're on this call to see exactly how we can also leverage some skill sets, especially in areas of HR and financial analytics, to get best values for our dream jobs. All right. Now, before we do that, I would just like to go ahead and introduce myself or reintroduce myself. Now, my name is Mary Anene. All right. Mary Anene is a data analytics professional and a HR analytics expert. Mary is a data professional who is passionate about turning complex data into actionable insights and helping individuals unlock opportunities in tech. With over half a decade of experience across multiple industries, she has combined technical expertise with a strong commitment to empowering individuals through data literacy and career mentorship. All right. So keynotes here is that I have over half a decade of experience in the areas of data analytics, data science, and HR analytics, with proficiency in tools such as Power BI, Excel, Tableau, Python, and SQL, to mention a few. And as a senior data associate at Analytics, I have helped mentor and transition individuals, over 1,000 individuals, into tech. All right. And the industries, which I mentioned earlier, includes government organizations such as the House of Representatives, NGOs, importation and marketing, and edtech industry. Now, as a woman in tech, all right, I also advocate for women in tech, data literacy, AI, and data-driven innovations, all right? And that is that about Mary. I'll be the one helping or training us in today's session. Now, I also have another important individual I want you to meet before we dive into our case study today. All right. Now, this is no other than Priscilla Fanawa. All right. So Priscilla is also an amazing individual and educator. She's passionate about educating individuals. She's a data expert and a career strategist. All right. So with close to half a decade of experience in the world of blockchain technology and data analytics, and as a growth catalyst here at Analytics, she has been instrumental in helping individuals navigate the complex tech landscape, guiding them into choosing the right career path, onboarding them into data-driven paths, and providing the support they need to land their first jobs in tech. Now, her expertise spans across freelance data analytics, crypto educator, technical support personnel, and tech career coach individual, right? Now, with a strong commitment in career transformation, Priscilla has successfully onboarded and mentored over 500 individuals, helping them transition seamlessly into tech and securing meaningful job opportunities. All right, so you can see all the contact details here if you want to connect with Priscilla. Priscilla is an amazing professional, and you're also going to be hearing from her in this particular session. I hope you stay tuned until the end of this session so you can hear all the amazing things she has to tell you. All right. Now that we are more familiar with ourselves, all right, we can now dive into the work that we have today. All right. So why are we here? Okay. Why are we here? The first thing we need to know is that we are going to be working on a special case study. All right. We'll be creating a dashboard that, speaks on workforce metrics in terms of employee performance and also financial performance in a UK bank. Now, we're going to have first-hand experience of what it feels like or what it looks like to handle finance data or HR data as a financial analyst or a HR analyst. Now, before I dive in, okay, before I dive into all the details of this particular, case study, I want to ask those of us in the house, how many of us here are HR analysts? How many of us here are HR analysts? If you have interest in HR analytics, just go ahead, drop a thumbs up, drop a thumbs up, or just, drop a one. Now, if you are here for financial analytics, go ahead and drop a two. Okay. All right. So I can see voiceover gang one. All right. I can see Priscilla saying financial analytics. Okay. So Becky as well, financial analytics done, HR analytics, Rosemary, financial analytics. Fantastic. So we are going to be serving each and every one of you tonight. All right. With some good knowledge. All right. So aside from building a full dashboard to help us understand what is going on in the banking system, all right, we're also going to do something else. We're going to be learning how to get started as financial analysts and HR analysts, okay? And we're also going to be looking at other individual success story and how we can possibly dive in and get started with Tenalytics. So we'll be showing you everything you need to know about the special discount offers that are spread across over this August, all right, that are available for you to grab. All right, so once we are done with this, you should have all the understanding you need to see exactly what these individuals do in their day-to-day work. All right. Now, let's look at this very quickly. Okay, so at the end of the day, what are we going to gain from this particular case study? All right, what are we actually going to gain? The first thing is we're going to learn to translate employee performance and finance data into actionable insights that shapes business decisions. We're also going to master the act of designing a dashboard that are both concise and visually engaging. And finally, we'll be developing storytelling skills. That's seeing how we can actually tell stories, communicate the insights that we are able to generate from our dashboard, and make informed decisions, or rather generate recommendations for this business. All right. So those are the three key things that we want to do. We want to see how we can translate these data sets either in the finance area or in the HR area. And once we are done with that, we'll also look at how we can bring a full functioning dashboard together, use that dashboard to tell stories that generate insights and also recommendations that would help the business make informed decisions in the area of HR and finance. All right. So what do we have here today? Now, we have an amazing case study, and we'll be working with Standard Holding PLC. All right, Standard Holding PLC is a UK mid-sized bank seeking to enhance workforce and finance performance efficiency, right? So we are trying to make sure that we can help Standard Holding PLC, all right, to understand or solve some certain problems in their workforce, as well as gain clarity in their financial performance as well. So just like everyone or most of us indicated interest in HR analytics, some of us indicated interest in financial analytics, right? Now, the same way, we are also going to be taking up individual tasks in this particular case study, all right? I hope you guys are ready to see exactly what we have to do today. If you are ready, just type in the chat, yeah, okay? Yeah. All right. I'm hoping to see that very soon. I'm not seeing any reactions. All right. All right. That's the spirit. That's the spirit. Okay. That is the spirit. Yeah. Fantastic. All right. So now that I know that we are on the same page and we are good to go, let's look at some of the key things that we need to do here. Now, we have two departments at work today, the HR department and the finance department. But this task is falling on the HR analyst as well as the financial analyst. Okay. Now, two individuals have two different tasks to achieve today. On the HR side, the leadership observed that top performers often go unrecognized while other employees lack motivations, right? So the HR team lead wants to actually identify the high performers, acknowledge them for their good deeds and their contribution to the organization, and then this should be able to support departmental performance outcome. All right. So we want to have a good understanding of what is happening in the performance of the organization. We want to be able to reward individuals that are high performers, either with extra bonuses, paid vacations, or even gifts like, cars and any other thing that they might need to boost their confidence for the extra work that they've done, and also to motivate others when they see that there's actually recognition and it's worth it for them to actually go through those processes, okay? Then it becomes a motivating factor for other employees to start doing better, all right? But to do that, we need to know the individuals who are actually performing well so that we can reward them. The same applies to departments as well. Which departments are doing great? How do we reward the managers of these departments that are giving us the results that we want to see? Now, the same applies for the finance side of things. The finance side of things, right? The branch manager is keen in understanding the overall financial health of the branch, right? The key concerns include understanding the trends of loan disbursement, deposit collected, non-performing loans, as well as identifying quarters where expenses may have spiked, you know, unexpectedly, right? So we're going to break down some of these things efficiently. We want to look at what is happening within the bank, all right? How are we disbursing loans? What's our net profits? How are we performing? The operational expenses that we are incurring. Where are we, making the most expenses or the least expenses? This will allow us to evaluate risk, to cut down budget, and also to allocate resources into the right places. All right. So these are the key things that we need to understand here. All right. So now what we want to do is to answer some key business questions. Now, these key business questions are just ways that we actually break down the problem that the organization is facing. For the HR side, we've talked about being able to identify top performers and department performance, right? That's exactly what we are going to dive in and look at. So for the HR side, the question we have as our key business questions are, who are the top performing employees across Q1 and Q2? That's Q1 stands for quarter one, okay, and Q2 stands for second quarter. So January, February, March, Q1, okay? April, May, June, Q2, right? So we want to identify those employees that performed well this year. Now, another thing is which department requires intervention to improve productivity. Now, this particular question helps us to highlight the particular department where we have the poorest performance, which might be a direct reflection of poor management or lack of motivation for employees or bad management, in fact, right? So whatever it is, we'll be able to pick out the specific department that has that challenge. Now, for the finance side of things, we'll also be looking at which departments and quarters drives the highest profitability, right? So this will actually allow us to see exactly where we made the highest profits, which particular quarter did we hit our targets or did we hit the highest profits, what impacts those high profitability. Is this a seasonal trend or a common occurrence? How do we maintain it, or how do we leverage this specific season where we make more profit so that we can even increase our profit earnings more in the coming year, right? Now, this would also help us to even budget better as to what we want to achieve in this specific period. Another key thing here is we're going to be answering questions about risk, loan, and operational inefficiencies. So for a financial analyst, you are going to be, touching on risk assessment, understanding how to analyze risk and help an organization avoid some of those things, right? So with data analytics in the finance area, you'll be able to see exactly how you can leverage your numbers, your data to actually lay out charts that helps you pick out areas where you can identify all these risks. So we'll look at the loan information, how loan disbursement has been, where we have higher risk of deficits being applied to the company's account, and also operational expenses where we need to cut costs and manage wiser, right? So these are the key questions that we are going to be answering. Now, like I mentioned, each and every one of us on this call are going to be taking on the role of either a HR analyst based on our interest and a financial analyst. Okay, so because of our time, I'm going to go ahead and dive in so that we can make sense of what we have right here as our business question. All right, so let's look at what we actually want to achieve today. Okay, so the main thing that we actually want to get out of this is we want to transform this particular data set that we have here. All right, you can see it's rows and columns. If I asked anyone what is the total assets that we have in this data set, okay, for some of us, we might want to bring out our calculator and start counting or adding up numbers, but these are over 300,000 pounds and all of that, right? It's going to be very difficult to do it just by looking at it like this. But let's say we start to transform it into meaningful information like this. You can easily pinpoint, oh, this is the total assets that was generated from this period to this period, using your filters and your interactive dashboard to make sense of that particular, dashboard, right? So yes, we also have other areas here that we can make sense of. Don't worry, we are going to build this, although not exactly. Okay, we'll still be seeing this specific dashboard, all right? We'll still be seeing this specific dashboard in the end of our session, or in the end of our dashboard development today, okay? So yes, so for the HR dashboard, we're going to be building a simple dashboard that answers our key questions: who are the top performers in the organization, and the departments that are actually suffering in terms of performance, right? Now, the other thing we're going to look at here is our finance dashboard, right? So for the finance dashboard, we want to figure out, where we are making the most profit, where we're having operational expenses or inefficiencies, and where we are making deficits in terms of loan collection. All right, so loan loss provisions are already right here on our screen. So we are going to replicate this in a short time. All right, so stay tuned. Now, before we dive right into our case study, we still have one more thing to do. That is, we have to get access to this particular data set here. All right. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on it. Okay. And go into our browser right here. Okay, so for those of us that don't have the link, don't worry. I'm going to share it with us in the chat box right away. Okay, all right, so just give me a minute. Let me do that right now so we can all have access. Now, for those of us that are also interested in getting the recordings of this session, the materials, and you feel interested in what we are doing right now, please make sure to fill out the attendance form that is being shared in the chat box. All right, make sure you fill out that attendance. I've also dropped the worksheets here. All right, let me do that again. I'm just going to give you the title, worksheet. Oh, fantastic. I can see us joining already. Okay. Worksheets. Okay. All right, so please let's go ahead and get on the sheet. Now we are just going to walk through this very quickly. What I'm going to do now is just to show us exactly how we can download this particular file. Okay, so what you need to do is very simple. You go to where you have the file, okay, the file tab right there at the top right corner of your screen. You click on the drop down, you scroll through, okay, and you see the option for download, right? Download. Now, all I want you to do is just download this entire sheet as Microsoft Excel. This will save directly to your file explorer, all right? So you don't have to worry too much about it, okay? So I'll go ahead and click on Microsoft Excel, okay? And we should be good to go. All right, we should be good to go. Now on this sheet we have both the HR performance data for Standard Holding PLC as well as the financial performance data of Standard Holding PLC. So with this we are going to be able to achieve the task that we have today. All right, so the next thing I want us to do is to go into a special tool that we are going to be making use of today, which is Power BI Desktop. Now, Power BI is a business intelligence tool that makes it very easy for individuals, businesses to create, summarize data or summarize visual that helps them generate insights in real time. Okay, so we are also going to be testing it out tonight. Don't worry if you don't have access to this. I already attached a link to this particular slide so that you can also get access to download it. Now, this is a video that actually walks you through how to properly download and install this software so that you can practice. Now, if you have registered or, filled out the attendance form, you should be able to get full access to everything that you need, especially the recordings of this session, so you can also practice when you are free. All right, so let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is to open a blank report page. All right, now the process I'm going to be going through right now is actually to extract my data or to bring in my data. For me to be able to make sense of the data I just downloaded, I have to actually pull it into this work station, which is Power BI. All right. Now, for me to be able to do that, I have to do what? Like I said, pull in my information. But in the language that Power BI knows best, I have to get data. All right. So I'll go ahead, click on that drop down. Okay. I want to access my Excel workbook. Okay. And yes, right here, I have my Excel workbook. Okay, I'll just go ahead and download and bring this in. Okay, let me just go back here. All right. So once you click on Microsoft Excel workbook, it opens up your file explorer. You go into your download folder and select the exact file you need. Now, because we have two sheets in our workbook, we also have that highlighted here. All right, so these two sheets here, they are both the same thing. So I'll just go ahead and select both of them because that's exactly what I'll be making use of for my analysis, right? So the first thing I'm going to do is just to go into this area where I have transform data, okay? And this opens up my Power Query editor. All right, my Power Query editor. Now, my Power Query editor is a place where we can actually transform our data, just like the button implies. You transform your data, you clean it up, right, to make sure that it's actually ready for you to analyze. All right, so I've used this analogy before, but I'm going to use it again. So imagine you want to prepare a pot of soup and you don't have the ingredients that you need. The first thing is to go to the market to get the ingredients, which is us actually going to get our data or the required data that we need. The next thing you have to do is to prepare those ingredients. That's you dice your onions, you clean up your meat and all of that, right? That is the specific stage we are in, right? So this data cleaning step is to make sure that we have no null values, all right? Unfortunately, right here, we have some null values. If you look at the data quality check that we have here, all right, we have a lot of null values. That's empty cells all over the whole place. Now, to sort this out, I'm going to just do a very simple step, which is I click on the employee ID, which is my primary key in this case. You're going to hear a lot about that once you get into your Power BI specifics in the programs we have laid out. All right, so all I'm going to do here is just uncheck null values, all right, and then click OK, and that should sort everything out. Now, there are different kinds of ways to handle null values. This is not the only way. There are so many other ways to handle null values based on the kind of data set that you have, right? We are going to talk more on that, in our classes, right? Now, another thing we have here is the finance data. We still have the same kind of problem where we have a lot of null values. So in a simple step, I'm also going to take the null values out. Okay, so for the years, we just take that out and we should be good to go. Now, for this particular data set, we don't have a lot of things to modify or change in this scenario. So we are going to dive right into, preparing our dashboard. All right. To do that, we'll be loading this data directly into Power BI desktop. So I'll just click on close and apply, and we are good to go. All right. So I'll just wait for it, our data set comes in, it loads fully, and it appears under our data panel right here. All right, so we have our data set right here. Now, like we already mentioned, we're going to be starting with the HR side of things, right? We want to quickly answer the business questions. Don't worry, we'll still see the complete dashboard once we are done, right? So we're going to be answering our key business questions here. Who are the top performing employees across Q1 and Q2, right? Let's look at how we can actually solve that. Okay, so I'm just going to go in here. First of all, I need to select a chart, okay? And in Power BI, that's very easy to do actually. All you have to do is just, come to this visualization panel and select any chart of your choice, right? So I'll go ahead and select this, okay? A clustered column chart, okay? Let me just extend that a little bit more. Now, like our question implies, it says, we need to find the top performing employees, right? The top performing employees, which means that if I go into my data set here, that's my HR data set. Let me just, bring that here. Okay, HR performance data. Okay, I will extend this so that I can have access to all the column headers in my data set, right? Now, I want to look for the employees who are top performers. And to do that, it's quite simple and straightforward, actually. The first thing I need to do is to look for my employee names, right? So I have employee names here. I want to bring it out because when I have the highest performing employee, I also want to be able to identify them by names, right? So I'll click on that employee name. The next thing I want to bring in would be the performance score, right? What is their performance score so far? So this is the performance score ratings here. I'll also click on that. Now, as I'm clicking on it, it's aligning itself to the x-axis and the y-axis over here. But we are not done yet. Let me just extend this so that we can see it on a much more focused mode, right? Now, the key thing here is that we know that appraisals are done either quarterly or monthly, depending on the organization. In this case, we have a quarterly basis, especially from our question which says top performing employees from Q1 or Q2. So what am I going to do? Since I have data sets from Q1 and Q2, I'm going to look at the average performance instead of the sum of performance, right? Average performance. This gives me a better figure, which means that I can see who scored on the scale of 1 to 5, who scored the highest or who scored the lowest. Now, this particular data set is still clumped up. There are a lot of names on this sheet, and I want to be able to just see the top 5 performing employees, which brings us to the next step, filtering our data. Okay, filtering our data. I'll go over here where I have the drop down. Okay, I have my filter. Okay, that's for employee name. And I want to filter employee name by top 5. So I'll use this top N here. Okay, and signify the number of names I actually want to see. So I want to see just the top 5 individuals. I'll go to my performance score, just paste that there. Now, as usual, I want to make sure that this performance score is on average. So I'll go ahead and apply that right here. So just like that, okay, we have a clear visual that actually pinpoints the top 5 performing employees. So now if the manager asks, who are the individuals that are performing very well, right? We would easily say, oh, we have Adam Wilson, we have Jake Williams, we have Emily Johnson, Megan Roberts, and Jack Johnson, right? These are the individuals across Q1 and Q2 that are performing exceptionally well. So when it comes to reward systems, these are the individuals who are going to be submitting their names to the management. Okay, so just like that, we've been able to answer one of our key questions to help us appraise or compensate this kind of individuals. All right, now we are going to move on to the next question here. Okay, we're going to move on to the next question. So we see exactly how that is achieved, all right? Trust me, this time around, we are going to be answering some questions, okay? So we have, which department requires intervention to improve productivity? Which department requires intervention to improve productivity? First of all, let me select a chart, all right? So I'm just going to select this chart here, okay, and bring it over here. Now I want somebody to tell me what particular data can I use to find out the department that is performing well? What particular sets of data, just by the title we have here, right? What particular sets of data can I use to find the department, okay, with the highest or lowest performing data? All right, okay. All right, so I'm not seeing any responses yet. I think we are still having some other discussions over here. All right, so I'm just going to give us, okay, I can see Aziz has dropped a fantastic one. Godwin as well, voiceover gang, Daniel, and Jay. Okay, department, fantastic. So the first thing we want to look at here will be department, okay, by performance scores. So as usual, to make sure that we get the accurate performance score across department, we have to look at it on average, okay? We have to look at it on average to balance our scales appropriately, all right? Now, very quickly, from this chart that we have here, which department needs our intervention? As the HR analyst in the HR department, which department needs the most intervention? Okay, risk management. Fantastic, fantastic. So we can see how easy it becomes for us to see our answers when we streamline them into visualizations like this, right? We can see how easy it becomes. Now, if we had it in our spreadsheet, I'm sure it would be quite tricky to be able to say, oh, this is the department that needs this, right? So here we didn't do any form of calculation. We didn't do anything just by selecting, columns in our data set, and we are able to come up with the required answers. Now, we can even do further analysis like looking at job satisfaction levels of individuals or collectively of this department. And I can just go ahead and click on job satisfaction levels and look at the average job satisfaction level by department. Now, with all of these figures here, it basically tells me I can just go ahead and bring in the data label into that so that we can see even better, right? So with all of this here, we can easily say, oh, this department is not performing well, but employee job satisfaction seems normal, right? Now we can make more insights or more investigations into all of these areas. Now for HR department has the highest performance score, but it comes out that they also have, the lowest job satisfaction levels. Okay, so let's not spend too much time. I believe we already have a good insight as to what kind of report we are giving back to our HR manager. Now let's quickly look at the kind of report we're also going to be giving to our finance manager. All right, so I'm going to just open a blank sheet here so we can start diving into the finance part of things. Now, for the finance business questions, we want to look at one key thing. Which department and quarter drives the highest profitability? Now, in this situation, I want to look at our net profit performance, okay? Net profit performance. So I'm going to go in here and just bring in my line chart because I want to see the net profit performance by quarter, okay? The net profit performance by quarter. So right here, we'll just go into the departmental finance data, okay? And we want to get the net profit right here, okay? And then the next thing we want to look out for is going to be the quarter, right? The quarter information that we have here. So for the Q1, Q2, Q3, we have, different dispensations here. Q1 had the highest performance. Q2, same thing. Q2 dropped, Q3 dropped, Q4 dropped. But this is not what we want to see here. There are a lot of years inside this data, and I want to be able to capture performance for each year, all right, based on the quarter, obviously, but for each year. So I'll go a bit deeper and just bring in the year information here, okay? For the year, I want it to just, come under the quarter. So right here, as you can see, we have the, okay, we have the year information. All right, I'm just going to move that around so that we can see it better. Now, if I drop the hierarchy, we'll be able to see all the quarters outlined as well. But I can see that my quarters are not, okay, my quarters are properly aligned. but we still need to make some adjustments in our sorting. So I want to sort by, Q1, Q2, and I want to sort it in ascending order. All right, so I have my 2022, 2023, 2024. Now we can see a little bit of movement in terms of profitability. Now this is the net profit, so we don't need to be afraid of anything, right? This is the profit that the organization has made. So from about 5,000 down to 11K in profits in a whole quarter. Now, there are a lot of things to discuss here about the performance in terms of the figures that a bank should be generating in its finance. All right. And we are going to also discuss on that if we have more time. But I want to ask everyone in the house, where do we have the least profitability in this particular chart here? Where do we have the least profitability in this chart here? Okay. All right, so we have Q2 2023. Fantastic. Aziz, I can see your question. Can't we use slicer for years here? Of course, we can use slicer for years here. But for me, I would like to make sure that I see the breakdown inside of the charts as well as have an advantage of the slicer as well, so that when other components come to play, we can even make more insightful decision at the end of the day. All right. So yes, we can definitely add slicers. All right. So you see the finished dashboard as well. All right. You see that at the end of this, right? So we have one more question to attend to here, and that is, are there risk in loans or operational inefficiencies? Now, this one is quite straightforward. We just want to look at the breakdown of, the loan performance, okay? And departments as well as quarters. So for this, I think I'll just go ahead and use this particular chart here, ribbon chart. Okay, this should give us a good overview of exactly what we want to achieve. So I need my loan provision. Okay, we also need the department information here. Okay, and finally, quarters. All right, quarters. So this particular outlook here basically gives us a breakdown of what each quarterly performance has been for across different departments, right? In terms of loan loss provisions, right? We can see right here what's happening in Q2, what is happening in Q3, all right, and what is happening in Q4 as well as Q1, right? So everything outlines here by department. So if you want to ask questions about why we have a large amount of, loan deficits that has been made available for staffs, right? We can easily find our figures right here under Q1 for the human resource department, right? Now, that is how we can easily just use this chart to understand what is happening in the loan area. And also, we can easily pinpoint the particular quarter where we made the most loss in terms of loan provisions as well. All right. So one last thing we still need to look at is the operations expenses, right? For the operations expenses, we're just going to use this particular metric chart right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on operations expenses over here. We'll look at the quarter, okay? Quarter on the column, and then we also have departments. If we want, I think that is that. We also have departments here. So for this is just a way for us to actually, understand what is going on in each department, operational expenses, each quarter's expenses as well. So we have the total for each department and the totals for each quarter. Now, one thing that makes this chart interesting is the fact that I can actually highlight or add any kind of conditional statement here. Let me put it on focus mode so we'll see that better. So I'll just go to cell element under my settings and sort that out. So for background color, Go ahead and highlight that. Okay. So we have all this information here. So the coloring just helps us to see where we are making the most expenses so far. So if I asked us now, can you pinpoint where we have the darkest shade of blue in this particular data set? Where we have the darkest shade of blue, just by the number, just tell me what number you can see on the darkest shade of blue. That is exactly where we have the highest operational cost. Okay. Fantastic, Jeffrey. Amazing, amazing. That is exactly what we are talking about. So imagine the manager also seeing this information. They know exactly what number they are looking at and where that number is coming from and when that number actually occurred. So they know it's coming from the corporate banking department, okay? And also this cost was incurred in Q1. So whatever decision making is going to be built on in that particular business is going to start with the visualization of what they can see, all right? Of what they can see right here on their dashboard, all right? So this is just us actually creating a skeletal work of our dashboard. But when it comes to actually finishing up this amazing work, we have a full dashboard here that actually has all the slicers and even KPIs that breaks down each of these concepts even further. So let's say, for example, we just want to focus on a specific department or even a specific time period, right? So let's say we want to look at 2025 and see everything that's happened in 2025. We can just use our slicer here and it shows us just Q1 and Q2. So far, so good. 2025 in terms of profitability is looking up, right? Now for loan expenses, we can also see places where we are making more losses in terms of loan provision and also operational expenses as well. As usual, corporate banking is taking the lead. So total assets, we can see the figures here pinpointed for us to also understand what is going on. And if we want to say, oh, we want to actually just look at year and quarter down to a specific department, let's say retail banking, okay, we can also do that and we'll see everything that we need to see in our dashboard. Now, in terms of insight generation, and storytelling as well, it comes in handy to have a full dashboard like this, the KPIs, the charts outlined, and an understanding of what is actually happening in front of you. Okay, so let's say, for example, we want to present to our stakeholder, right? You go into that meeting very confidently with your figures, and you go in and say, hey, welcome to Standard Holding PLC. I'm here to, present the financial performance dashboard. So far, we have, from the year of 2022 down to the second quarter of 2025, we've accumulated a total asset of 21 million 670 21 million 670 million, right? 21.670 million, a total net profit of 128,000 and a cost to income ratio of 77.85%. So all of these things are key things that we can easily just look through, write them down as we are seeing all the rising points, the lows and the highs, to pinpoint where we had a particular issue. Now, this particular challenge that might have occurred here in terms of the drop in profitability in Q2 2023 might be an external impact, an economic turn point that might have affected the entire banking sector. In terms of finding our research or looking through our research materials, we'll be able to find exactly what happened. Either it's an internal error or an external influence. We'll be able to speak more on it as to why it happened and how we can easily avoid that specific issue from occurring again. The same occurs with the high performance that we have here for Q2 2025. All right, this basically shows that, something is being done well, especially with this kind of spike that we have here from Q1 to Q2. Something is being done right, and we need to see how we can replicate that and keep pressing onto those particular things that are making the business even more profitable. All right. So if you settle down a bit, you'll be able to pinpoint a lot from this financial performance. The same applies to our HR as well. We have our slicers over here to help us break down even by gender, right? By quarter, year, and department, and help us see exactly what is going on. Now, if we want to say, oh, we want to reward Q1 performance separate from Q2 performance, we can just go ahead and do what? And, go to Q1, all right? Click on Q1, we'll see all the names of the top performers, all right? Q2 as well, okay? We'll also see all the names. So the names are changing actually if you look at it. Q1, all right, Q2. If I go to Q3, I don't think we have any data there. So we are just looking at 2025 for the HR, and that is that. All right, so we built two interactive dashboards, maybe not as efficient as what we have right now, but at least we've been able to answer those business questions and to be able to present something exceptionally powerful and useful to your stakeholders. You have to also pinpoint on some key insights for your stakeholders and build a presentable dashboard just like the one you have here on my screen. All right, so just like that, we've been able to sort out two key problems in the HR side of things and in the finance side of things. So as a financial analyst, you'll be able to see exactly what is happening in the business and tell your manager what they need to avoid and what they need to apply more effort into achieving and escalating even further. And for the performance or HR performance side of things, you'll be able to see the employees who are performing well, so you can reward them and encourage others to also do as good as they are also doing. Okay, so on that note, I'm going to just go ahead and hand over to my colleague, right? So Priscilla is going to come in here and tell us exactly what we need to do, okay, to become, all right, a HR analyst or a financial analyst in today's world, right? So I'm going to go ahead and, welcome Priscilla. Hi, Priscilla. All right, the floor is yours.
Hello, Mary. Confirm that you can hear me.
Oh, I can hear you. I can hear
Okay,
you loud and
beautiful.
clear.
All right, just give me a minute, please. All right, can you hear me now? Hi, Mary, can you hear me? Okay, thank you. Hi, everybody. If you can hear me clearly and you're still very active in this session, please leave a 1 in the chat. If you can hear me and you're still very much active, kindly leave a 1 in the chat so I know that you're still here and you can hear me clearly. Okay, so I'm just looking out for ones in the chat. All right, so I can see everybody here. Good to have all of you here. And I hope that you've enjoyed the session thus far. Okay, so we've talked literally about how you can build a dashboard using Power BI, right? And I hope that was pretty easy for those of us that follow through. So if you were not able to follow through, not to worry, you'd get a recording of the session. What you just want to do is try to fill the feedback form, so that as soon as this recording is available, you can get the slide, you can also get the link to the data set and every single thing you need, to practice as you've seen Mary done in today's session. All right, so we're just going to get started. So I'd like to ask again, financial analytics or HR analytics? Let me see the guys that are interested in financial analytics or the people that are interested in HR analytics. So just leave your response. If you're interested in finance or HR, let me see you. Please leave a response in the chat. Okay, so Jeffrey says FA, interested. Financial analytics. Gabriel says FA too. Ranil, FA, interested. Wow. Okay, so Don says HR, Olaides. So we have more financial analytics professional on the call. Pretty interesting. Okay, so basically, so Mary's leaving HR analytics as well. So we're just going to get into it. How do you get started as a financial analytics professional or a HR analytics professional? I'd like to assume that almost everybody here on the call, is looking to transition easily into either of this career path. And what I intend to do here, right now, is to help you learn how you can get started, as a financial analyst or a HR analyst. So let's get into it. So I'll just ask a very simple question in the chat, just to help you see the interesting bit about finance and HR analytics, apart from what maybe has shown you. Now, just imagine that you are an investor trying to invest in a company, and they told you that, okay, two companies, right? Company A and company B. So you've been told that company A generates $100,000.
No, he said.
Okay, sorry about that. Can everybody still hear me? Please let me know if you can still hear me clearly. Okay, all right. Thank you very much, namesake. Okay, so back to it. Now, you have two companies that you're looking to invest in, company A and company B. You've been told that company A actually generates $100,000 in revenue, right? While company B generated $80,000. Which of them would you be more interested in investing on? Which of the companies, company A or company B? Remember that company A generated $100,000 while company B generated $80,000. So which of them? Renil says A. Absolutely. Thinking about it like that, A, right? But let me tell you a story. In this scenario. So you see the beauty of financial analytics, the impact of financial analysts in a company. So absolutely, this investor has $50,000 and is torn between investing in company A or company B. Now, like I said, company A shows higher revenue, right? But company B, lower revenue. But guess the trick? Even though company A is making $100,000 in revenue, their expenses are actually very high, right? While company B, they have a lower revenue, $80,000, but a stronger profit margin and better liquidity, right? So you as a financial analyst, you're there to help the investor actually realize that even if company A seems to be making or generating so much revenue, it is not the company that you would want to invest in. And the way you're able to show the investor this is to, first of all, analyze the financial statement of both companies. So you get their financial statement and analyze them. You take a look at something called the liquidity ratio, to check the short-term financial health, right? And then you also take a look at profitability ratios. This might be sounding like technical jargons, but these are the things that you get to learn here at Analytics, right? So basically, the financial analyst will come in and will show the investor that, yes, company A seems to be making so much more, but company B is more profitable. That is the company you want to invest in. So I hope you're starting to see the impact or the benefit and importance of a financial analyst in any and every organization. So at the point of you trying to make a financial decision, you actually would need the eye of a financial analyst to, ascertain if that decision is the best, right? Just to give you Another interesting scenario. So a startup intends to raise $100,000 to expand operations, right? But they are not sure whether to do the debt financing or equity financing. By debt financing, I mean, borrow from a bank, right? So we intend to raise $100,000. Do we borrow from a bank, right? Or do we raise equity from investors? So you as the financial analyst, you also come in, right? And then you're able to compare the debt versus equity financing, right? So you check the current bank loan interest rate. You also estimate the cost of giving away ownership. So do we want to give part of our ownership compared to, the loan interest from the banks, which is, more profitable, which is the wise step to take, right? The financial analyst would also take a look at something called cash flow projection, right? Are we able to, before we decide that, okay, let's do equity financing or debt financing, if we take a look at our cash flow, or we try to project our cash flow, right, can we actually generate enough revenue in 12 to 24 months to cover the loan repayment, right? So if we can do this, there's no point doing equity financing, right? You also do what is called risk assessment. So all of this just goes to show you the importance of a financial analyst in every and any organization. A company is looking to do M&A, merger and acquisition. The financial analyst has to come in place to actually ascertain if that company, if it is good, to acquire the other company, right? And they do this by actually going through the financial statement of that company, right? So I hope you're starting to see the importance of a financial analyst. Now, I'll also show you something relating to HR and analyst as well, because we're here for financial analysts and also HR analysts. Now, imagine this company, after COVID, post-COVID, this is 2025, and they're looking to they decided to do the old remote work thing, right? Everybody work from home. Okay, please just work from home and all of that. And then in 2025, the management of the company is debating whether staff should remain remote or return to the office. They feel like, oh, the productivity of our staff have actually reduced, right? So do we actually bring them back? So you as the HR analyst, what you do in that situation is to help the management understand what is going on with productivity before COVID and after COVID, right? So you are able to compare the productivity data before COVID happened. What was the average productivity rating of the staff? And after COVID, what is the average productivity rating of the staff? And you're able to see which is higher, right? So if the productivity rating of the staff is higher after COVID, it is no-brainer that you might just say, okay, please let everybody remain remote, right? Just work from home because your productivity is higher, when you're working from home, according to the data. So you are able to see how the HR analyst and the financial analyst are able to get the data of company and help them make data-driven decision. This management, they're literally debating, right? If there's no data to back the fact that, okay, the productivity rating after COVID was actually higher, they'll just assume that, okay, let everybody return back to working in the office. So you start to see, how the HR analyst and the financial analyst helps the company make concrete decisions using data. So the HR role is no longer that traditional HR role anymore, right? So you literally deal with data and you help the company, like I said, make data-driven decisions. So to become this HR analyst or financial analyst, what are the skills that you need to learn? What are the things that you need to focus on? There are a lot of things to learn in financial analytics, and there are a lot of things to learn in HR analytics. But what should your focus be on? What is the structured approach to learning? Especially as somebody just looking to start out as a beginner, you're just looking to start out in financial analytics, or you're looking to start out in HR analytics. You have to be very, very strategic so you actually stand a chance, right? So what are the skills you need to learn? Okay, we're going to take a look at that right away. Okay, so if you're looking to go for financial analyst, right, the first thing you need to learn as you can see here on my screen, is actually problem solving. So how do you basically approach problems as a financial analyst, right? The way HR analyst would approach problem is very much different from the way a financial analyst will approach problem. So you basically learn how to approach problems as a financial analyst. And remember that as a financial analyst, you are a data analyst that is just focused on financial data. Don't forget that aspect, right? You are a data analyst, but you are focused on financial data, right? So you see on my screen, you get to see after problem solving, you learn Excel, you learn Power BI, and you learn SQL. Now, these are the tools of a data analyst, but you also use them to analyze the company's financial data. And right, this should be your approach to learning. So if you're somebody that is looking to start out in the world of financial analytics or start out in the world of HR analytics, you first of all want to learn how to approach problems as a data analyst, as a financial analyst. Then you want to learn Excel from the scratch, because Excel is like the bread and butter of every and any analyst, be it a data analyst or a financial analyst. Then you have Power BI. You can see what Mary was able to do with Power BI. There's so much more that you can do with Power BI, like connect to data stored in a database. So if the financial records of the company is stored in a database, with Power BI, you're able to connect to that. And then you build your report to visualize the insights from the database, right? Afterwards, you also get to learn SQL. SQL is called Structured Query Language, and it is a language of a database, right? Then you start getting to the financial analytics aspect. And just to mention, the way the financial analytics program here at Analytics is structured, it gives you access into 3 exciting roles. In data analytics, like I said, because as a financial analyst, you are a data analyst that is focused on financial data. So you get to learn data analytics and you can apply for jobs as a data analyst. Then you have investment banking, and corporate finance. So you have access into all of these roles. Okay, so after learning SQL, you get to also go into the basics, accounting fundamentals. So for people just looking to start out, you have literally no experience in finance or accounting. We take you right from the very beginning. What are the accounting fundamentals and all of that you need to learn? The various accounting principles, right? We take you right from the very beginning. Then we have what is called financial analysis. So how are you able to get the financial statement of any company, and you're able to do the liquidity ratio we talked about, the profitability ratio, and all of that, right? Then we have what is called financial modeling. So with financial modeling, you're also able to show the company, okay, we require $100,000 as a capital to start this company, right? How much of it goes to debt? How much of it goes to equity and all of that? Right? At what point do we break even? This is what you do with financial modeling. Okay, you're able to project or predict the company's financial performance. So it's called forecasting performance in the world of financial analytics. Then you also have something called valuation, right? That is something you get to learn. How do you value a company? Right? Then you have your sensitivity and scenario analysis. So with this, you get to see the impact of various economic situations on the company's financials, right? So if interest rates increases, what is the impact on our financials? Right? If the tax rate increases, what is the impact on our financials? So it is with sensitivity and scenario analysis that you are able to see this. And most importantly, you get to learn ChatGPT for analytics. So every single professional needs to understand how they can incorporate AI into their workflow. You don't want to be left behind, right? So when you hear AI is going to take your job, actually, that is not true entirely. It is people that know how to use AI, that will actually take your job. So we actually prioritize teaching every single one of our participants how they can use ChatGPT for analytics. Okay, so some of the tools and technologies you'll be using, like I said, Power BI, SQL, Excel, and all of that. And you don't need to have all of this installed before coming into the training. right? Because you're going to be taught how you can have all of this installed, right? The Tanalytics approach to learning is we assume everybody is a clean slate. So you're coming into Tanalytics without a prior knowledge or experience. That is how we teach you. And that way you're able to learn confidently, right? So this is what you get with the financial analytics program. And I hope it sounds beautiful to those of us looking to start out in the world of finance. So let's get to HR analyst, right? You know, the way the financial analyst is a data analyst that is focused on financial data. The HR analyst is also a data analyst that is focused on HR related data, people data. In every single organization on earth, there are three important elements: the people, the technology, and the process. The HR analyst is focused on managing the people. You know that the people is behind the technology, right? The people is behind the process. So the HR analyst, is literally in charge of the people, right? And what are the things you need to learn? You're looking to start out in the world of HR analytics. What are the things that you need to learn, right? So you have problem solving, very important. That is the basics. How do you approach problems, right? Then you have Excel as well. You have Power BI, right? You have SQL, and then you start to look at the various HR KPIs and performance evaluation. So how would you say that an employee is doing well? Right? How would you ascertain that an employee needs extra training? So you start to look at the various HR KPIs, and then how you can evaluate performance for staff in the company. Then you also learn absenteeism and attrition metrics. So this is one HR KPI as well, where you get compensation and pay equity analysis, collaboration and recruitment tracking automation. Then you get to learn a human resource management system, how you can use that, how you can pull data from an HRM, which is something that every single HR analyst should know how to use, right? Then, as usual, you get ChatGPT for analytics. Okay, so these are the things you need to focus on as somebody looking to start out in HR analytics or financial analytics, right? So here at Analytics, we've streamlined every single thing that you need to learn that will land you the job really, really easily. Okay, and now after you've been able to learn all of those, after you've been able to go through all those key learning areas, what are some jobs that you can apply to? So you're not just focused on solely financial analyst roles or HR analyst roles. So after taking the financial analytics program here at Analytics, you can apply to some roles in data analytics, because remember that you are a data analyst that is just focused on financial data. So what this means is, with your problem solving, with your Excel, with your Power BI, with your SQL, you are able to apply for some roles in data analytics, right? You also have your financial analyst roles. You have investment analyst. So if you see an investment analyst role, after going through the training program at Analytics, that is something you should confidently apply to, because you have the skills already. Then we have commercial analyst, credit analyst, treasury analyst, financial planning and analysis analyst, pricing analyst, portfolio analyst, corporate financial analyst, and so much more. I hope you can start to see the beauty of actually learning here, right? You learn a couple of skills, and these are the roles that you can apply to. You're not stuck on just solely looking for financial analyst role, right? You can apply to a couple of other roles, same as the HR analytics roles, right? So you can absolutely apply for some roles in data analytics. You can apply to your HR analyst role, people analyst, workforce planning analyst, talent analytics specialist, compensation analyst, benefits and reward analyst, talent analyst, HR operations analyst, as well as diversity and inclusion analyst, and so much more, right? These are the jobs you can apply for, after taking a look at the HR and the financial analytics program. Now, is learning just enough? You see the key learning areas that I've actually told you, anybody can pick them up, right? But is that sufficient to actually get you the job? Right? Is that sufficient as a beginner looking to transition? One that the recruiter would ask, how many years of experience do you have? One, they will ask, to do what is called competency-based test and all of that. right? So what are the strategies that will land you the job in 2025? Now, the focus for us here at Analytics is not for you to just learn, right? It is for you to get a job after learning, right? Because it is when you get a job, that we know that we've actually done our part, right? We've actually fulfilled our end of the bargain. And for you to get a job, right, you need to plug into the strategy that we have here at Analytics. So what is the strategy that we have? The first is learn. As you already know, you need to gain knowledge. You need to start from the very beginning. So if you're looking to go for financial analytics, or you are looking to go for HR analytics, you need to be focused on that, right? So you've decided that, oh, this is what is best for me, financial analytics or HR analytics. Right? Focus is key. Now, in tech, it is very easy to lose focus because you start to hear, oh, this person got a job as a cybersecurity professional. I think that's the in thing. That's what I want to do. That is why you can see here that the first strategy is for you to focus. So you've chosen to go for financial analytics or HR analytics, you need to stay focused on that goal. Now, after learning, you also need to position yourself because thousands of other people like yourself will be learning. So how can you stand out? Some of them have already gotten experience, right? And you're a beginner just looking to start out. So how do you position? Right. So we have what is called the employability skills, which I'll be buttressing on as we go ahead. Right. Then after you're able to position, you're also able to apply. There's a method with which you apply, right? And for every one strategy that we use here at Analytics that has been very helpful is to ensure that we teach our participants how to tailor every single application. So you see the roles that I showed you that you can apply to. At the point where you're applying to any of those roles, you want to ensure that your CV is tailored to that role, right? That is called tailoring your application to every role because each job application contains keywords that the applicant tracking system will be fishing for. So if your CV doesn't actually carry the necessary keyword, it just gets sieved out. So you need to ensure that every single application you're looking to send out, it needs to be tailored to suit the job, right? This is, you applying with precision. So people just go on LinkedIn, they see the easy apply, and since their CV is already attached on LinkedIn, they're just sending the CV. They're not taking a look at the job description, right? They're not tailoring their CV to suit the job description. This is something we emphasize on. And if you heard at the beginning of the session, with all this strategy, we've been able to help over 2,000 plus people get jobs in tech. Right. So this is one thing we emphasize on a whole lot. Ensure you're tailoring every single application. Right. And then it's not very easy to get a job. Right. So what this means is you would need to apply a minimum of 10 quality applications per day. That is what you need to stand out. Now you have a goal in mind, you have your salary threshold and all of that, right? And what you want to do is to ensure that you're competitive, you stand a good chance. And to do this, you need to do at least 10 quality applications per day. And then apart from the normal job boards that you have access to, all of us have access to LinkedIn, we have access to Glassdoor, we have access to Indeed. But then there are some jobs that you do not have access to. So you need to tap into those as well. And how do you do it? So here at Analytics, one thing we've been able to do is to pay for premium jobs that you don't have access to. And you don't need to pay anymore because we've done the heavy lifting. We'll be paying for you. All you need to do is just come on the platform where you have these jobs and you apply, right? That is you tapping into paid and hidden job market, right? And all this put in place, you'd be able to land a job. This is the strategy that we use here at Analytics, one that has yielded so much results for us. Right? Now, talking about jobs, we strictly believe here at Analytics that the technical skills are not enough to get you the job. You see your Power BI, just learning Power BI is not enough to get you the job. SQL, just learning SQL is not enough to get you the job, right? Because other people are also learning, like I said. So how do you stand a chance? It is called, we have this job equation formula, as you can see here on my screen. T plus E equals to job offer, right? T stands for technical skills. So what are the technical skills that you need to get? Those are your key learning areas, your HR metrics and KPIs, your Power BI and the likes, right? So you learn that that is just 50%. Right? Then you have the employability skills, which I'll be talking to you about. So you combine the employability skills and you combine the technical skills, and you stand a very good chance of getting a job. So let's talk about the employability skills, right? The first, as you can see here on my screen, is what is called the CV review and revamp. So what does this entail? So what we do here at Tendalytics is 2 months into your learning with us, right? You learn how you can, revamp your CV. You're taught how to revamp your CV, right? There's a standard CV format for a HR professional, and there's a standard CV format for a financial professional. So you learn how you can tailor your CV to suit these formats, right? And after you've been able to do that, you submit your CV. So you turn in your CV, where our experts will be taking a look at your CV, right? And they'll be providing you with personalized feedback. Oh, your work experience has to be better. Your educational background, it is not rightly put and all of that. You get all those key feedback. And guess what? One very important thing that we do here at Analytics is to encourage every single person going through our training to have on their CV that they're working for Analytics as consultants or contractors. Now, you are able to confidently put on your CV that you're working as a consultant or a contractor because of the way you are learning here at Analytics. I mean, think about it. So the way that mid-level staff are able to move up the ladder to senior level and all of that, it's just by the experience they've been able to gather, right? Right. Just think about it. So what gives them the experience? The projects they've worked on, the task that they've worked on. Now, that is how you will be learning here at Analytics. You'll be learning by gaining experience, because at the point when you are, interviewing for a role, even on your CV, they want to see the experience that you have. Nobody wants to think, oh, this person is just starting out. Let's give them a chance. They want to see that you have experience already, right? Because of the way you're learning at Analytics by working on projects, you see all the key learning areas. You're not just coming to learn theories. Theories do not get you the job, right? You're coming to learn the practical application of the tools in a real world setting. So how are you able to tell an investor that company A is actually, generating more revenue, but that is not what you should invest in? It is by working on the project, by doing something called financial analysis. And you're learning that practically here at Analytics. So you're learning by gaining experience. At the end of the day, you have over 8+ projects, right? And just to ask you a question, let me see the people still with me in the chat. Imagine that you have a car that you want to fix, right? There's this car you want to fix, and the first mechanic is telling you that they went to Harvard, they have mechanical engineering certification from Harvard, and they can fix your car. The second one is telling you that, oh, this is my workshop, right? These are the cars that I've been able to fix and all of that. Which of them are you more likely to take your car to? The first one that has the old Harvard certification, or the second one that has the workshop? Let me know in the chat. Absolutely. Priscilla is saying too. The one that has evidence. The one that can show you, yes, I've done this thing before, I can do it for you. Now, guess what the equivalent of a workshop is in the tech space? It is your portfolio. If I'm a recruiter, you tell me that you're a financial analyst. The one place I'm running to ascertain if you've got the right skills, to ascertain if you've done it before and if you can do it, is your portfolio. And guess what is in your portfolio? The projects you've worked on while learning at Analytics. So you're able to curate all those projects and have them on your portfolio, such that you can showcase to any recruiter any day, anytime. I have these skills, right? These are the things I've worked on with full confidence. These are the things I've worked on. So you're confidently able to have a portfolio and then include Analytics as your work experience. This excites me really, right? You're able to include Analytics as your work experience. And what we've done is, to provide you with a job description that summarizes your your learning journey. So you have that as your work experience, on your CV. You also have a link to your portfolio right there on your CV. So all of this put in place is called our CV review strategy. And once your CV is up to par, keyword optimized, remember that we'll be teaching you how to tailor it to every job application you're looking to make. Now, once that is sorted, we have what is called the LinkedIn optimization session. Now, we have a lot of participants that have been able to get jobs via LinkedIn. The way we recruit sometimes here at Analytics is to go on LinkedIn and search, maybe data analyst at Cameroon, data analyst in the UK, and all of that. And we'll see names popping up, right? And then we go through their profiles. Now, if a recruiter is looking to fill up a financial analyst role or a data analyst role in your location, they'll definitely search on LinkedIn. And for your name to pop up, your LinkedIn profile has to be very well optimized. As a beginner, these are the things you need to focus on. As a financial analyst, there are certain keywords that your LinkedIn profile should contain. Same as the HR analyst, right? It should also have a link to your portfolio. It should have Analytics as your work experience, right? And then you have, your LinkedIn profile properly optimized such that your name appears amongst the top search if a recruiter is looking to fill up a role. Then we have navigating the job market. It's just as I've told you, Analytics, subscribing to premium job boards that you don't have access to, right? I'm providing you with these roles. We have visa sponsorship roles. We have remote roles, across the UK, US, Canada. So while you're learning, while your CV is properly optimized, while your LinkedIn profile is well optimized, you're also learning how you can apply to these jobs. Okay, then we have what is called interview preparation. As a beginner just starting out, you'd have interviews coming up, right? So what we do here at Analytics is to ensure that at the point where you have an interview coming up, you are able to book for an interview preparation session. So with this interview preparation session, you have an expert that will do their findings about the company. They'll do their research on the company, take a look at the job description. They're able to preempt the questions you are likely to get, right? And they will prep you for this interview. They'll teach you how to introduce yourself. They'll teach you how to answer competency-based questions, right? Then we have job reference letter. Remember that on your CV, you have Analytics as your work experience. So absolutely, recruiters would want us to provide reference letters, and that is something we are able to provide to our participants. Then we have on-the-job support as well. So you're a newbie just starting out, you get a job, and you have a task that seems daunting. You don't know your way around it. A lot of our participants don't usually come back for this, but we have this available. So if at any point you need on-the-job support, you just need to reach back to us and we're able to provide this to you. And then we have weekly mentorship sessions. Now, a lot of beginners struggle with, okay, this company is asking me to state the amount that I want. So how do I negotiate basically? Right. So in our mentorship sessions, you learn salary negotiation. That is something you get to learn. You have global recruitment experts coming to talk to you about the ropes, the do's and the don'ts, how you should position yourself. Then you have people that have gotten jobs, coming to also mentor you in the mentorship sessions. Then you have Upwork optimization as well. So the technical skills combined with this gives you a chance, a very huge chance to land your desired job. Right. So this is what we have with the employability skill. Basically, here at Analytics, if you're looking to learn the financial analytics or the HR analytics, what is the program duration and timeline? Right. So it is 8 months. Right. And this 8 month is split into 6 months of learning where you get to learn all the technical skills. And then you have 2 months of internship. So your learning is done with Tenalytics, quite all right, but your internship is done with a company called Amdari. Now, Amdari is a company that is registered in London. So for those of us that worry so much about, so the recruiter is asking you, do you have UK-based experience? On your CV, you would also be able to include Amdari as your work experience. And guess what? Amdari is actually registered in London. So you automatically have a UK-based experience. Tenalytics itself is registered in Canada, right? So if you're looking for Canadian work experience, you have that, right? Because Tenalytics is right there on your CV. And Tenalytics is also accredited by the American Council of Training and Development. So you basically learn for 6 months with Tenalytics, you go through projects, you work with facilitator and all of that, and you have 2 months of internship done with Amdari. Now, how does your 6 months learning pan out, basically? So we have the Saturdays live class, and we have the self-paced as well, right? So with the live class, you don't need to attend live class every Saturday for 6 months, right? So out of 4 Saturdays in a month, you just have to be in a live class for 2 out of those 4 Saturdays, right? The other Saturdays are for questions and answer. Because here at Analytics, we're a data company, absolutely. Over time, we've been able to get feedback, look through our data. We understand that a lot of the people coming to learn here at Analytics, they're working class professionals, right? They have work, they have multiple shifts, they have family, they have responsibilities. So we've ensured that your learning is quite flexible. Out of 4 Saturdays in a month, you only have to be in a live class for 2 out of those 4 Saturdays. Then you have what is called the self-paced videos. So with the self-paced, you learn at your convenience. You no longer have to come to a live session like this to learn for 3 hours. You choose the time and the place. So if you choose to learn on a Sunday for 2 hours, maybe 12 to 2 a.m., right? It is up to you. You basically learn at your convenience. So you have the live classes and you have the self-paced. And in all of this, you always have access to your instructors, you have access to your facilitators, such that if at any point you're working on your project, you can easily, and you come across, difficulties, you have technical issues, you can always reach out to them to have all of that sorted out. Okay, then we have the mentorship session, like I said, and interview preparation. So we have the mentorship session suiting the people in UK, Africa, Europe, and people in North America, same as the live class. Right? So we have the morning class, which is best for people in Europe, UK, and Africa. It's from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. West African time. And we have the evening class from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. West African time. This is best for people in North America. Right? But then if you figure that even if you're in Europe and you work in the mornings, if you figure that the evening classes work for you, you can attend the evening class. So you choose one of both schedules, right? And you go for it, the morning or the evening class. Same way you have your mentorship. So you have mentorship, that is tailored to people in Europe, UK, Africa, and you have mentorship tailored to people in North America as well. Okay, so this is what you get. And bear in mind that every single session, just like this one, is recorded here at Analytics. And you have a lifetime access to the recordings and the materials. Okay, so basically at this point, I've included in my slide success stories of people that have been able to go through our financial analytics program and HR analytics program, and they've been able to transition successfully. So right here on my screen, you'd see Chika. Right? Chika, like yourself, came into the program, the financial analytics program, right? And we worked with Chika to prepare him for his interview and provided a reference to enable him secure a financial analyst job right there in the UK. So here on this slide, I've attached a link to Chika's, success story, Chika's testimonial. So ensure you're filling the feedback form so that as soon as you get this, you are able to go through his testimonial to hear what he has to say. We also have Solomon. So for people that are thinking, I don't have a finance background, I also do not have an accounting background, can I easily transition? Solomon was an engineer, right? He had an engineering background and he got a full-time job, as a financial analyst. then we have Akintayo as well. Akintayo was able to get a job as a chief financial officer after completing our financial analytics program. So we not only have beginners that are looking to start out, we also have people that are already in the game, but looking to upskill. Right. And with all the strategies we've been able to put in place, that is how they were able to get jobs. Right. Then here on my slide, I'm also showing you screenshot of a conversation with a participant called Joy Ikota, right? So Joy was able to get a job as a HR analyst right there in Ontario, right? And the first email is basically saying, I've been given a position as a HR analyst with the region of Peel here in Ontario, Canada. Right. So at some point, she needed reference letters and all of that, which we were able to provide to her. Right. And she was able to get a job. We also have Amaka. Remember the job boards that I spoke about, the one where we had to pay, so that you have access to these roles. Amaka was able to plug into that. So she took a look through the job board and she applied for one of those roles. Right. And she was able to secure a job as a HR data analyst. Remember, I told you that as HR analyst, you are a data analyst that is focused on people data. So you started here interesting roles like this, HR data analyst, right? So this is Amaka here for you. Then we also have Sonia as well, right? And Sonia was able to get a job as an HR analyst in the UK. So as soon as you get my slide, you can go through all of their success stories, and that would, give you the much needed confidence that you will need as well. Right. So I also have a couple of other people here on the slide. Ikmat was able to get a job as a data analyst. We have Pavel that was able to get a job as a data analyst in the UK. Right. So if you have access to my slide, you can literally just, go through all of those testimonials. Right. Now, to the big question, how can you start today? So you've seen the importance of a HR analyst or a financial analyst, right? You've seen the things that you need to learn, right? You've also heard about how Analytics has put a strategy in place to help you get a job. So basically, how can you get started today? Right? Guess what? This is the very, very interesting part. So we have a cohort that begins on the 6th of September, right? 6th of September is just a couple of weeks away, right? And that is when our next cohort is starting. Okay, so if you're looking to start your financial analytics journey or your HR analytics, this is the best time for you to start, right? So that before the year ends, you're already looking at applying to jobs. Okay, now basically, what do you need to get started here at Analytics? Okay, what do you need to get started? So you're interested in HR analytics or interested in financial analytics. How much would it cost for Analytics to train you, to give you all the employability skills and help you achieve your goals? Right now, the cost of the training program here at Analytics is 1,000 US dollars. That is the cost of the training here at Analytics. But guess what? We have a discount ongoing, a 25% discount. So instead of $1,000, you get to pay 750 US dollars. Now that's a whopping $250 off. Right? Instead of $1,000, you get to pay 750 US dollars. But the catch is this discount, this 25% discount is actually closing out tomorrow. So if you can see on my screen here, you'd see the discount category. So the 25% discount is called the early bird discount, right? And it lasted from the 9th of August and will be closing out tomorrow. So if you either want to start in September or you want to start in October, you can secure a discounted slot with the 25%, which helps you save more money, before the end of tomorrow. Right? So you have the 25% discount as the early bird discount. Then we have the standard discount, which is 20%. So instead of $750, you now have to pay 800 US dollars, right? And it starts from the 23rd of August. I mean, who doesn't want to save more money, right? Why do I have to pay 800 when I can pay $750? Right? So if you're looking to start out soon, I would encourage you to plug into the 25% discount because it helps you save more money. right? So you either go for the financial analytics or the HR analytics. Okay, so I'll pretty much talk you through how you can go about payment. My colleague is dropping the link to the payment platform right there in the chat, and I'll be talking you through how you can literally go about making payment. So after the standard discount, we have the late registration, which is just 15%. So you get to pay $850. And I'm sure that almost everybody here on this call would rather prefer to go for the 25% discount, which is 750 US dollars. So pretty much, let me show you how you can go about making payments. So my colleague is dropping the link to the chat. You just want to click on that. Okay, so as soon as you click on that link, right, let me share my screen. Just give me a minute. As soon as you click on the link that my colleague is sharing right there in the chat, right, as soon as you click on that, it takes you to the payments platform, right? Where you can actually secure a slot with a 25% discount for either the financial analytics program or the HR analytics program. So what you want to do is just click on the link that is being shared, right? Tap on it if you want to secure a slot for the September or for the October, and it takes you to the payment platform, which I'll be showing to you right away. So if you can see my screen, please just give a yes in the chat. If you can see my screen, leave a yes in the chat, please. Can anybody still see my screen? Okay, Wale, thank you very much. Okay, so I'll take questions as soon as I'm done, walking you through how you can go about making payments, right? So as soon as you click on that link, it brings you here, right? You see all the courses that we have here at Analytics. If you're interested in financial analytics, right, you see financial analytics and then you see HR analytics. So what you want to click on is buy now. Right, remember that the 25% discount is ending tomorrow. So you want to take advantage of that. As soon as you click on buy now, it brings you here, right? And then it will ask you to create an account, which can be done in 30 seconds. So just create that account and you get to click enroll now. Right? So when you click enroll now, it now shows you the payment breakdown. So you can either go for the September cohort, which starts on the 6th of September, or if you're thinking that is too close, I need more time to prepare, you can choose the October cohort. And guess what? The discount still applies to the October cohort. So you can either start in September or you start in October, right? And then you get to see the payment options. So you see that 750 US dollars, you don't need to have the whole chunk before starting in September or October. Because with Analytics, there's so much flexibility. So you can pay as many as 5 times, you can pay 4 times, 3 times, twice, or even once. So if you're looking to, go for the 5 monthly payments, all you need is just 150 US dollars. So you need that to secure a slot, with a 25% discount, right? And you get to pay that in 5 months, you're done with the entire 750. If you want to go for the 4 monthly payments plan, you get to pay $187, right? And you pay that, you get started with that in 4 months, you're done with the entire thing. Then we have the 3 monthly payments where you pay $250 3 times in 3 months and you'll be done with the payment. But guess what? There's a further discount if you're looking to pay twice or once. It's called the net present value effect on money, right? So if you want to pay twice or once, you get a further discount. Instead of you to pay 750, you can pay 350 US dollars. I mean, 700 US dollars, pardon me. So you get to pay 700 US dollars if you're looking to pay twice or once. Okay, and this is a steal basically, but all in all, you're able to take advantage of the 25% discount before it ends tomorrow. All right, so at this point, I'd like to take questions. So I can see a couple of questions in the chat and I'll be taking them now. So if you have any question for me, you can leave them in the chat, so that I get to take your questions. Okay, so Chama is asking, I'd like to make payment today. How do I proceed? And I have these questions on data analysis and the financial analysis, which to go for. Okay, so if you're struggling between which of them to go for, what you want to do, like my colleague said, is to, first of all, secure a slot, before that goes off tomorrow. And we have these sessions called the clarity sessions. So you secure a slot, you have access to the clarity session, and then you come to the clarity session, you share your experience with a professional. So they take a look at your background experience, they take a look at your interests, the things you like, and they're able to ascertain, yes, the financial analytics suits you, or the HR analytics suits you. But what you want to do is to first of all secure a slot before the slot goes off, right? Before the 25% discount goes off. So are there any more questions for me? But Chama, let me know if that answers your question in the chat. Okay, just let me know if it answers your question. If there are any more questions, if you'd like to speak, all right, you're welcome, Choma. So if you'd like to unmute your mic and ask your question, just use the raise hand icon, just indicates that you'd like to get unmuted, and I'll call you, let you get the unmute icon, and then you can ask your question. Okay, so Gabriel is asking if we can repeat this. Absolutely. So you're wondering which of the programs to go for. Do I go for financial analytics? Do I go for HR analytics? Or which one of them? Data analytics, right? What you want to do, is for you to secure a discounted slot, right? A 25% discount, which will be closing out tomorrow, right? And then you get a prompt to book a clarity call. So on these clarity calls, you come on board, right? You share your experience, your work experience, your educational experience, the things you like, the kind of person that you are, and the professional is able to tailor it to a program that suits you. So they will tell you, after they've been able to go through your profile and all of that, they'll tell you, okay, the financial analytics works for you, or the HR analytics works for you. But what you want to do, if you're unsure, is to secure a discounted slot, and you are able to, come ask questions to find out which of them would suit you, right? But then, if you're also interested, what you want to do is just join any of our communities. You get access to the Clarity link, and then you can book a session. Okay, go ahead with your question, Gabriel. So Choma was asking which of them she wants to go for, either the financial analytics or data analytics. That's why I was asking her to, book a Clarity call. But for you, you want to do FA. Absolutely fantastic. Which questions do you have? Okay, a clarification on, do you want to know if financial analytics is the right fit for you? So I'll be waiting for your response in the chat. Do you have any specific question about the financial analytics? So what I want to do right now is to literally show you the key learning area in the financial analytics program, show you what you stand to gain and all of that, right? But Gabriel, I'll be, waiting for your question in the chat. Okay, so just go ahead, ask your question. I want to know which of them to go for first. Okay, so if you're looking to deal with financial data, right? If you want to be able to tell a company that, okay, you can go ahead to acquire this other company, they are profitable, right? If you want to deal with the company's financial statement, right? Help them make data-driven decision, right? Help them also forecast their financial performance. So we're currently making $100,000, right? What are we likely to make in 5 years? So if you want to do forecasting of financial positions, right, forecasting of revenue, forecasting of income and all of that, then the financial analytics program is best for you, right? And the financial analytics program is like a 2-in-1. Okay, so you get data analytics and you get financial analytics, because as a financial analyst, you are a data analyst that is focused on financial data. So what this means is after taking the financial analytics program, you are able to apply for data analyst roles alongside your financial analyst role. So this is what the financial analytics program affords you. You get to learn problem solving. You get to learn Excel, Power BI, SQL. You get to the basics, accounting fundamentals, because we like to approach everybody as beginners. So we start from the very basics, right? Then you also learn financial analysis. How can you analyze the financial statements of a company? Right? You also learn how to build financial models. So it is with financial models that you're able to forecast the company's financial performance, right? If the company is looking to raise fund and all of that, they would need a financial model for investors to see. So you're able to build out a financial model right from the very scratch. You're also able to do something called valuation. You learn how to value a company, right? Then you have your sensitivity and scenario analysis, right? And then you also learn ChatGPT for analytics. Now, these are the things you're able to learn with the financial analytics program. And just to reiterate, these are some jobs you can apply for. So you see the investment analyst role, the commercial analyst, the credit analyst, the treasury analyst, the financial planning and analysis analyst, pricing analyst, portfolio analyst, corporate financial analyst. Now, if these are roles that interest you, absolutely, the financial analytics program will be the best fit for you. Okay, so Gabriel says he has gotten the clarification. Okay, so Gabriel, are you looking to start in September? Do we have any more questions? Just let me know if you're looking to start in September. And Priscilla is asking, what about you're interested in Scrum Master course? So absolutely, we have a Agile Project Management and Scrum Master program, right? And if you check the payments platform that I showed you initially, you would also see that there. So if that is what you're interested in, you can absolutely go ahead to make payment for that, right? So we have that in place already. The Agile Project Management program. So let me show you what that looks like. All right, so you see Agile Project Management and Scrum Master. So you like to lead a team, you like to work on projects and all of that, you can go for this as well, secure a slot for the Agile Project Management program. But the focus today is the financial analytics or the HR analytics program. So Gabriel, I see you, December 6th, you're busy with a lot this period. Okay, that makes sense, but you literally have to compare, like, what are your goals? When are you looking to get a job in tech? How fast do you want to start as well? Okay, so do we have any more questions? I'm very happy to take your questions. You can put them in the chat, right? Or you use the raise hand icon, so that I know that you want to speak and I can take your questions. Okay, so, but if you do not have further questions for me at this point, what you want to do, like I said, is to try to secure a discounted slot. It helps you save an extra, $250. But if you're looking to pay any other dates, right, you get the 20% discount, or you get to pay $800, and then after that is over with, as soon as 20 persons are able to secure a slot for the 20% discount, it then goes down to 15%, right? So actually, the earlier, the better, right? So at this point, if you don't have any more questions for me, I think we've successfully come to the end of this session. So I assume that I've been able to take everybody's question, right? If you have a question, please feel free to leave them in the chat. Okay, Chama, I'm trying to do registration, but it's already selected data analytics. If I proceed, does that mean I've selected? No, so what you want to do is you can choose just go ahead to make payment for the data analytics, right? Then when you come to the clarity call, we'll be able to switch that to the financial analytics or the HR analytics, right? But right there on the payment platform, you can go back, you should have financial analytics there. But if you're not seeing that, just proceed, come on the clarity call, and then you would be able to decide which of them to go for on the clarity call, and you can effect that on the back end. So Gabriel, thank you very much. You mentioned that you enjoyed my presentation. So Annabelle is asking, after September and October, when is the next cohort? So we have another cohort in November, right? But the earlier, the better. right? So in July, actually, the cost of the training was $900, right? And we had a very small discount, right? So not, right now it has increased to $1,000 and we have like 25% discount. So what you want to do, the earlier the better, because by November, December, there might have been a price increase and all of that, right? So iPhone is asking, do we need to get a CFI certification as beginner? Absolutely not. So you see the people I showed you, Solomon, Chika and all of that, they didn't need that to get started, right? So what we do for you here at Analytics is to help you work on projects. In tech, a couple of months back, Elon was big on, they needed to employ, a software dev, his focus was on, I don't care what school you've gone to. I don't care what certifications you have. Let me just see your code base. That is the focus in tech, actually. What can you do? Right? So as a beginner, you don't want to be focused on certification at first. You want to be focused on getting the technical skill. And as you go up the ladder, absolutely, certifications are good. But our goal is to help you get a job as a beginner in tech, right? iPhone, I hope that answers your question. Okay, so it's been a lovely 2 hours with everybody. Thank you for sticking with me till this time. All right, so remember to secure a discounted slot as we close out on today's session. Yeah, Oladipo says, though I'm already keyed in for the data engineering program and made necessary payment, I'm looking forward to a great time. Absolutely. Here at Analytics, that is what we're big on. Ensure that you enjoy, you have fun while learning, right? Flexibility and all of that. So I hope to see you, Oladipo, come September. All right. So with that, we're just going to close out on today's session. Please enjoy the rest of your day. Remember that a 25% discount will be ending tomorrow. You want to key into that. Even if you're not sure which program to go for, key into the discounts, then come on the clarity call. You find experts that will tell you, oh, go for this or go for that, right? And you're not losing out at all because you'll be going for your desired program that suits you, and you would also be taking advantage of the discount, okay? So that being said, successfully come to the end of today's session. Thank you for listening to us for, the past 2 hours. I hope you had a good time and you enjoyed yourself. All right. So with that, goodbye and bye for now. Cheers and thank you.